Hey guys, what's up? This is Tyler. This is my second vlog entry, and this one I'm gonna officially start the vlog. You guys will get the general idea of like what this vlog is gonna be about. So this one's gonna be discussing the general seasonal pattern of largemouth and smallmouth bass. Um, this is gonna be part one. Is gonna be just the movement, and part two is gonna be lure selection and lure techniques and all that. So. In this one, it's very important to know just the general seasonal outline. Just because when you're getting on a map, for example, you can reduce the amount of map that you're going to dissect. You can cut it more than in half, just by knowing where the bass are going to be, And getting on the water is the most important part, like I said. But because there's no absolutes in fishing. There's none. There's nothing that's ever going to say this will always happen. There's no magic lure that'll catch fish in every water, every condition, all the weather. There's nothing there's just none of that, There's nothing that is completely predictable. I mean, but this is a general thing, but, I've, but, it's always can change. I mean, I've caught bass in places that they never should be. I've caught smallmouth in the lily pads before, on a frog. Never happens. I've caught largemouth in 40-degree water in 2 feet of water underneath the dock where, nobody would think of doing it. But, so just getting out there, experimenting is just the main thing. You can't base your entire fishing trip on the seasonal pattern. But, yeah, like I said, I'll just give you a general idea on where they should be at this time of year. And you find a general area based on the seasonal pattern, but you expand it when you get out there on the water. And so the general pattern is basically, in a nutshell, keep it short, try to. The bass are going to winter in the deepest, most vertical break areas on the lake, and this will give them access to shallow water real quickly. But it also allows them just to stay, just chill for the winter. They don't feed much. Their metabolism is really low. And this just allows them just to be pretty dormant for the season, for the winter season. And then once the water starts to warm up, like in the spring come up, the bass are going to transition to the closest main lake points, and moving to the main lake humps as the pre-spawn progresses. Move to the main lake humps and the secondary points on the lake. And these humps and secondary points are going to be located outside, like where they're going to plan on spawning. And the bass that they have found that's suitable for spawning is being the bottom composition being... Oh, great. My computer's screwing up. Let's shut this off. Sorry about that. So, where was I? Yeah, they're going to spawn in like the coves and the back of the creek channels, and these main lake points and humps are going to be really close to that main lake creek channel. To the back of the creek channel, basically knowing where they found that's going to be suitable, and knowing the bottom composition is a big deal, because the maps are not going to show you what the bottom composition is going to be like. I mean, they'll give you a general idea, but the lakes change, and the maps can't give you a complete view. Like I said, there's no absolutes. So I mean, lakes change all the time. It might change from a rocky bottom to a sandy bottom, and you may not know that unless you're out on the water. So don't base it completely on your map study. Like I said, get out on the water and test it out. And once the spawn is over, they're gonna go into their post-spawn period, and they're gonna do one of two things. They're gonna stay shallow, feed up shallow, just stay there. I mean, some bass just live shallow all winter. Or all season. It's just a thing. And but mostly they're going to transition like towards deeper water, and they're going to use basically the same secondary points and main lake humps as they did when they were in their pre-spawn, and they're going to recover from the rigors of spawning down this now. And they don't feed too often. You gotta. Well, I'll discuss baits and stuff later. So, but once the middle of the summer starts to come, the bass are going to move about the entire body of water. They're going to scatter. But a lot of them are going to be pretty predictable. They're going to fall under one or two categories. They're going to be in deeper water, or they're going to be in thicker cover. The deeper fish are going to be in the lake structure where the bottom offers suitable cover for them to feed, that has food readily available, And these underwater structures are going to be located by deep weed lines, river bends, and creek ledges on the creek channels, for an example. And a lot of times these bass will school up, and if you can become, and they're gonna be pretty decent sized fish too. So if you can become a proficient deep water angler, you are gonna be very successful. And a lot of people can't do it because you gotta cast transmission baits, you gotta feel the bottom, you gotta look at your electronics pretty intently. It takes practice, but once you do it, you can become a really successful angler by just perfecting this. But then also the bass are gonna fall under this category too. They're gonna fall under thicker cover, and that's gonna be your trees. Your brush piles, your slop, your lily pads, what have you. Your docks under pontoon boats and all that. This is just something that's going to offer them suitable shade for the warm water temperatures, um, and food has to be close by, like the bluegills and the shad or whatever. And you know, and these fish aren't going to school like the deep water fish for the most part because there's just not room enough for them to school. So you're not going to catch your numbers. I mean, you can if you're fast and you power fish through it, but you can become a very proficient angler doing this. Some guys like Tommy Biffle, that's all they do. Denny Brower, they flip shallow cover. That's what they do, and it works. I mean, one, you can see all the cover, so you know what you're doing. You know exactly what you're casting at. Whereas deep water, you don't always know. You got to figure out before you start fishing. You don't got to look at electronics. You don't got to be extremely. You don't got to be. You don't got to practice. I mean, yeah, you got to practice, but you don't got to be as reliant on certain other non-factors. Like, you can see everything that's going to happen. But for the most part, it's also going to be a lot easier to fish this way. And once the water starts to cool, something's gonna go up in a bass's head, and they're gonna begin to feed really heavily to bulk up for winter. And this time of year, it's gonna be real similar to the spring. They're gonna transition from shallow back to their main lake points, their secondary points, their main lake humps, and they're gonna stage there. But they're also gonna transition as the day progresses. They're gonna chase bait, and this is the main thing: is you gotta find where the bait's gonna be. They're gonna stage really close to where they spawn too, and then the shallow water is gonna be pretty. They're just gonna feed really heavily, and they're gonna bulk up for winter. Their metabolism is gonna slow down. Water's gonna cool, and they're gonna go back to their deep vertical break winter staging areas. So that's pretty much it. It's just gonna keep repeating itself, every year, basically doing the same thing. But I'm gonna wrap it up again. And please post any comments or any questions regarding bass fishing, anything bass fishing. Post it down on the comment box, or on my channel. Personal message me if you think that your question is going to be something that you don't really want to produce, but whatever. And maybe I'll base a whole video on your questions. I'll try and answer it, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you for part 2 pretty soon.